Hello, extended family. A fun little quick video. So this kind of conveys my journey from Southern California, living in a neighborhood, and then ultimately back in 2007, making that decision that had to make some big changes in life and finding my way back in rural South Carolina in Pickens at what I affectionately call NerdManor, 40 acres of heaven. So this is the house back in 2007. There was no value on it. I effectively just bought the property. So it's a farmhouse built in 1937, the leaded glass windows, no gutters, not really even a functioning heat pump. Step one, since I traveled a lot, was just to get a fence up, as I was spending 2 weeks at a time in California still. So that's Glassy Mountain in the background, put a fence up, kind of taking stock of barns and pools and all these things that were just unmanageable. Here we just had concrete steps, ultimately had to pull the pool out when it failed, so there's a goat barn in the background. This was probably the low point of renovation one spring. Also another barn on the property that needed to be torn down or dealt with. Concrete steps and plumbing as a railing to a screen door, holes in ceilings where they actually leaked. I mean, it was rough. So there's a screen porch kind of on the front. And so this kind of almost 12-year journey began, kind of more pictures of how things were when I took possession. This was actually a swamp area, and the house is in the background, believe it or not. You can kind of see stages along the way. That one cedar tree is kind of your anchor point. So here's also a day one picture. No fence, no nothing. So one of the buildings that we added was this carriage house, kind of a garage with apartment that you can kind of see in the background there, that was built to match the house that was built in 1937. Some lifelong friends that I went to Clemson with, kind of helping me get settled, plant trees. And so I think these pictures are from this spring. This is actually in the first terrace of the terraces going up the hill and the front field. So this is many times my morning walk, just kind of get out with a dog and walk along and just kind of enjoy some of the space and the quiet. You can imagine after living in such close proximity in Southern California that this really is enjoyable. So that's the fence line, Flint Hill, kind of going down towards Pumpkin Town Highway. Kind of more of these pictures from around the property. Down towards the gate, looking back up at the house, and then from the gate looking up Flint Hill, so heading along the fence line the opposite way. We're fortunate that we own both sides of the road here, and then well back. This is part of the lower field, what used to be a swamp, and so these are kind of the areas that we've reclaimed, kind of keep them cut, looking back up again to the house, the carriage house, and then that renovated barn. If you remember those pictures of that kind of falling apart barn, that's now become an art studio office. That's where we conduct all business. So here, in fact, is a picture of what's supposed to be a barn. It looks like a barn from the road. And then, of course, the story's not complete without introducing Lee, who is an amazing artist, has kind of brought me to a sincere relationship with Christ, and just continues to amaze me with her artwork, whether it's painting or wheels on a bike, or an example of where she actually hand painted a bicycle frame. This is kind of what that bike looks like upon completion. She's done painting for motorcycles. Here's an example of some Harley tanks she did from someone. And then another tank for another friend, just intricate, just amazing artwork. A painting she did on canvas for Celeste. Speaking of which, 100th anniversary of Woody Hayes, they brought in an actor, and Celeste wearing a Clemson t-shirt in that picture. Graduation from Ohio State. Kind of a typical day for me out on the roads, kind of riding the bike and relaxing. Here is basically the 5 kids and family at Haley's wedding. That is Haley, and of course Lee on the right. And you notice the smirk pervades. There's Celeste and son Paul. There is Hannah on the right. And Gabriel's kind of snuck in one of the pictures. And then, of course, our, I guess, child number 6 is Beatrice, the dog. Well, I guess I should mention Curie the cat. They kind of rule the roost, and we've become those people in terms of our pets. We dress them up and we take pictures and we interact, and they're kind of that fun part of life. Here's Beatrice kind of sitting in another project, the old Bronco that found its way back from California, and she is basically with us 24/7. Here she is in the office looking for playtime, and very relieved when I need much needed rest, when I'm not out riding my bike in one form or another, which still remains one of my passions. So we always joke that if I don't shave, I'm starting to look my age, but my attitude hopefully keeps me pretty young. So apologize super quick, but in the absence of Facebook, whirlwind tour of Nerd Manor.